Everybody, my name is Jacob Sapochnik and I'm an immigration attorney based in San Diego, California. In this video, I wanted to explain the new E2 visa and E1 visa for citizens of New Zealand. This is a new opportunity based on the Kiwi Act that was signed recently by President Trump. And this visa will allow citizens of New Zealand to come to the United States, invest, and start their own businesses. In a previous video, I gave a brief explanation about what it is and the background. And in this video, I want to explain what are the requirements for a citizen of New Zealand to be able to come to the United States and take advantage of this new visa, the E1 and the E2 that was just signed a few weeks ago, to be able to come here and start your own business. So what are some of the requirements? First of all, you must have at least $50,000 to $100,000 as a minimum investment to invest in your own business. This is an amount of money that you currently have in New Zealand, that you earned it, or you inherited it, or you got it as a gift. So you must have the amount of money first to be able to invest in your own business in the United States. The second requirement is that you actually have to come to the United States and open and start a company. So you have to register a company, and that company will be your company, and you'll be able to move that investment money into your own company to start any business. Now, you either have to start a company or you have to buy an existing business. So let's say you want to buy a coffee shop. You identify that business before you arrive, and you're able to purchase that business, and using that purchase you can start your business in the United States and obtain an E2 visa. Another requirement is that we have to prove where the money came from. We have to prove that, we have to document the source of funds. So if you have 100,000 in New Zealand and you want to move that money to the United States, we have to prove the source of the funds. Another requirement is that you actually have to use that money for your business. So if you bring the money to the United States, it's not enough to put it in your bank account. You actually have to either purchase a business or use that money to start a business and actually invest in a company. A few months after you invest in your company, I'm able to take these documents and put together a package and submit that to the U.S. Embassy in Auckland, where they're going to be processing your documents. Another requirement is that you actually need to have a business plan. The U.S. government would like to see, what is your plan with your business? Are you going to be starting a coffee shop? We want to see a 5-year projection. What are you going to be doing there? It has to be a legitimate business plan for that business. It's actually a requirement of that visa, of the E2 and the E1 visa, that you need to have a business plan, a 5-year plan, to show what you're going to be doing with your business in the United States. So again, in a previous video, I explained that the E2 is an investment visa. So it basically is based on you bringing funds from New Zealand into your new business in the United States and actually using that money to develop your business. If you're coming here as an E1, as a treaty trader, which is a second visa that is now available for people from New Zealand, we have to show that you have a trade between the US and New Zealand. And that trade has to be at least 50% with the US. So if you're sending goods or products, those must be coming from New Zealand to the US and vice versa. So that's another requirement if you're going to do the E1. Another requirement is that it has to be a substantial investment. You cannot just invest a marginal. So if it's $100,000, they want to make sure that you're going to be using most of that amount for your business. You can't just bring the money and then just use it for personal expenses. It's very important that you do that, because that is really one of the key elements of the new E2 visa, investment visa, between the US and New Zealand. And finally, your business must be able to employ a few US citizen employees. So if it's an E2 visa, we usually recommend about 2 or 3 employees at a minimum. Of course, it depends really on your business, but if it's a restaurant, obviously you're going to have to have employees. If it's a consulting business, at least 2 or 3 employees. It is really essential for you to at least hire a few US citizens to be able to work in your business to qualify for the E2 visa. Again, these are not really complicated requirements, but this is an amazing opportunity for people from New Zealand to be able to come to the US and start their own business. This is something that was not available before August 2018. We had a lot of clients from New Zealand over the years that were coming here and getting a job in the US or opening a branch office of their companies in New Zealand, but they were never able just to come here and start a company. It's going to be a huge opportunity for startups, for entrepreneurs from New Zealand to come to the United States and try their luck in here. Again, it's a temporary visa, so you're not abandoning your residence in New Zealand, but it's an amazing opportunity to come and try your luck in the US. And again, if you have any questions as to exactly how to do it, or any more questions about the particular requirements of the visa, feel free to post them in the comments below, and we'll be more than happy to answer them. Again, I'm Jacob Sapochnik, and I'm an immigration attorney based in San Diego, California. We've done thousands of e-visas over the years, and we're happy to share this information with you and answer any question you have about this new development. Again, it's called the Kiwi Act, signed into law in August 2018 by President Trump, welcoming citizens of New Zealand to come to the United States and start companies using the E1 or E2 visa. If you enjoyed this video, please let me know, post it in the comments below, and we look forward to connecting with you on Facebook right here. Thanks for watching.